video is going to give you a quick overview of everything that we've learned in the outcome on slope. So it's just going to kind of tie everything together. So a road rises 2 kilometers over a horizontal distance of 20 kilometers. We want to calculate the slope of the road. Well, slope is rise over run. So our rise is 2, our run is 20. We could choose to change this to a decimal, so our slope would be 0.1. If we wanted to calculate the pitch of the road, the pitch is just rise to run written with colons between them. So we would just write it as 2 to 20. What is the percent grade, and should a warning be erected? So percent grade was taking the slope and timesing by 100. So our slope was 0.1 from part A, times that by 100, we get 10%. If we think about back to when we talked about percent grade, said anything over 6% should have a warning. So yes, there should be a warning sign erected here. 10% is definitely larger than 6%. How long is the road? To determine how long the road is, we take our rise and our run, and we use Pythagorean theorem to find x. So we use our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We have 2 squared plus 20 squared equals x squared. 2 squared is 4. 20 squared is 400. We add those two together. We get 404. And the inverse of a square is square root. So we'd get 20.1 equals x. When it asks us to find the angle of elevation, we use our tan ratio. So if we remember, tan is opposite over adjacent, and we determined opposite over and adjacent in a slope question is just our rise over run. So we have 2 over 20, and therefore we have tan of theta is equal to 0.1. Remember, you use second function tan. You might put second tan decimal equals, or you might put the decimal and then second tan. Your angle measure should come out to 5.7 degrees. So that kind of ties a lot of the lessons together right there. The other thing that was talked about in this outcome was the different types of slope. So a line that has slope 0, that's a horizontal line. A line that has an undefined slope is a vertical line. A line that has a positive slope goes up from left to right, and a line that has a negative slope goes down from left to right. A safe slope for a ladder is 1 foot of run for every 4 feet of rise. Jared needs to use a ladder to reach a windowsill that is 16 feet above the ground. How far from the house should the ladder be? So we got a house, we got a ladder, so here's the house, here's the ground, here's the ladder. The windowsill is 16 feet above the ground. We want to know what is a safe distance for the bottom of the ladder to be from the house. Slope is rise over run, and we know a safe slope is 4 feet of rise over 1 foot of run. We know the rise to the windowsill is 16. We are looking for what the run should be. 4 times x equals 1 times 16 is 16. Solving using inverse operations, we divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so 1x is just x. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So it should be 4 feet from the base of the house. The slope of a pipe is 2.4, and it rises 6 feet. What is the horizontal distance covered by the pipe? So we did questions like this as well. We've got rise over run. We know that the slope is 2.4. If it's not given to us as a fraction, we can make it a fraction by putting it over 1. Then we know it rises 6 feet. We are looking for the horizontal distance, which is the run. So now we can solve this proportion. So 2.4x equals 6. Inverse operations, we would divide by 2.4. So we would be left with x equals 2.5, and that would be feet. So we can set up proportions using slope and solve for a missing part. The pitch of a roof on a house is 2 to 5. If the width of the house is 45 feet, what is the height of the roof? Now we talked about pitch in terms of roofs. So what we have here, we've got a roof. We're going to assume it's an A-frame roof in order to solve this question. The width of the house is 45 feet. What is the height of the roof? We know that the pitch is 2 to 5. So here was the important piece that we learned in this outcome. So we have our height is what we're looking for. When we talk about slope or pitch of a roof, we can only talk about one portion of it, either the up or the down, not both together. So this 45 needs to be cut in half. So half of the width of the house is 22.5. That will allow us to set up a proportion. Remember, pitch is rise to run. So we can write it as 2 over 5 equals. We are looking for the height. Height is rise. We now know the run in the one portion of the roof is 22.5. So we can now look at solving that. 2 times 22.5 is 45. 5 times h is 5h. Using inverse operations, divide by 5. So we get h equals 9. So the height of that roof was 9 feet. Another area that we looked at in this outcome was determining the slope of lines on a graph. So what we need to do here is we need to find points on the line that intersect grid markings. That is the easiest to use. So here is one, because we know it's 5, we know it's -5. Here's another one, we know it's -7, and we know it's 1. So we actually know what those values are. So we want to set up a right triangle. And what we talked about was always starting at the leftmost point and drawing your triangle with a line up or down first. So this one here, we need to go down and then over. So now we are going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then our run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when we do rise over run, because our first line dropped down, our run is -12. Our rise is -12. Our run is 6. Moving to the right is always positive. -12 divided by 6 is -2. We double check that our sign is correct. We start at our leftmost point, and we see what direction our line is going. And it is going down, and going down is always negative. So now we can look at this other one. Again, choosing 2 points that we definitely know, -6 and -3. Here it's definitely on a grid, it's 7 and 1. Make our right triangle from the left point to the right point. Count our rise. 1, 2, 3, 4, and our run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we do rise over run. The rise was 4. It was going up, so it's positive. The run is 13. Double check that it should be a positive slope. Starting at our left point, what is our line doing? It is going up. So yes, it should be a positive slope. And the last type of question we looked at was rate of change. Rate of change is very similar to the examples we just did, except each line does not necessarily go up by 1. So we need to find the difference in our rise and the difference in our run before we put them into the formula. So here's one point that we definitely know, and it's hard to tell, but this one looks like another one that is definitely on the marking. There may be others as well. So what we have to do is we need to determine our rise. Our rise starts at -400, goes to +600. This one's a little bit tricky because we're going to be subtracting a negative. We've got 600 at our high end and negative 400 at our bottom end. If we recall, when we subtract a negative, we actually add those two together. So our rise is 1,000, and it's in dollars. Our run. So our leftmost point starts at 0. The right point that we've chosen to use goes to 200. So we need to find the difference between 200 and 0, and it is 200, and that's the number of T-shirts sold. So now we can do our rise over run to find our rate of change. Our rise was 1,000. Our run was 200. So that was dollars, and this was number of T-shirts. So what we have is we get $5 per T-shirt. 1,000 divided by 200 is 5. So that was a really quick overview of all of the lessons that we have done in this outcome. So now you should be able to work on your review assignment.